Ladies and gentlemen, this is breaking news. Get this segment going. Very, very interesting. Trump Organization sues New York City for wrongful termination of contracts. ABC News, CNN, Trump Organization sues New York after golf course contract canceled in the wake of January. It's interesting how retribution takes place whenever it's a contract or like Major League Baseball, for example, leaving Georgia. It's like, well, Major League Baseball never said a word when President Obama's NATO intervention, and yes, that is an issue, that is a moral discussion to have, destroyed and obliterated an actual country in Libya. You can say, oh, that's completely different from voting laws. And it's like, yeah, one is infinitely worse or infinitely worth more of a discussion pertaining to right and wrong and morality than laws that relate to integrity, the integrity of a vote. That's up for debate. If you're on the left, you say, oh, they restrict people. Well, you restrict the Second Amendment all the time. You want to restrict other things. You want to restrict speech. And 100,000 voters were purged in Brooklyn, or 1 to 200,000 voters during the Bernie Sanders DNC primary fiasco. Remember Bernie Sanders? Remember Bernie Sanders, but not Sanders? Remember when he was, in 2016, railroaded by Debbie Wasserman Schultz and she was forced to resign? Well, there are so many things you could look at if you wanted to take a stand against policies, foreign policy. When President Obama sent American soldiers to more places than even Bush. Where was Major League Baseball then? Oh, that's okay. So Major League Baseball is just fine with traumatic brain injuries, apparently, and a whole bunch of other things. Lives being lost, families being suffering from their loved ones being injured for the rest of their lives due to perpetual military conflict. That's okay for Major League Baseball. So it's just, look, everything is public relations now, and all the marketing executives, they've completely forgotten that Bernie Sanders was railroaded, so they never took a stand pertaining to the fair and neutral primary in 2016. They never took a stand when it comes to failed military interventions like President Obama's travesty of a NATO intervention. But yes, you know what? Let's cancel golf course contracts. Let's move the All-Star game because it's about right and morality and justice. It's like, give me a break. Hit subscribe to this channel, by the way. Hit subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. The link is below in the description section. Please become a member of this channel. It's fun. It's awesome. You get emojis. There's a whole bunch of perks. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll read The Hill. So all these articles will be below in the description, in the pinned comment. And if you want to support my voice long-term, ladies and gentlemen, to my new Patreons, your Patreon support is so helpful. It really helps me do what I do. This is, thank God I have a loyal following, and thank God and thank goodness that I have this channel that's doing extremely well and H.A. Goodman's other channel. But your support it really helps me do what I'm doing. So your Patreon is really appreciated. Thank you so much to my new Patreon members. Trump Organization sues New York for canceling golf course contract. This is June 21st. The Trump Organization on Monday filed a lawsuit against New York City for canceling a contract to run a golf course in the Bronx this year, claiming the decision was politically motivated. The lawsuit claimed that there was nothing in the contract that gave New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio the ability to terminate the contract after January. And the interesting thing is, it's like you had 4 to 5 months of $1 to $2 billion worth of property damage, according to Wikipedia. You have 25 lives lost, according to Wikipedia, for the fiery yet peaceful, according to CNN, protests. Now, yes, I understand there was a reckoning, and the motivation was different from January. Tell me how $1 to $2 billion is justified, even if the motivation or the incentive is rooted in a good cause. How on earth is it justified? How on earth is it moral? How on earth, if you're going to take a stand against Trump, that you don't take a stand against mayhem and chaos and curfews at night in every major city of this country? And I noticed that all the wonderful marketing executives, liberal pundits, there's a list of liberal pundits. I can give you a whole list of people who didn't attend any fiery yet peaceful, very peaceful, extremely peaceful protests. Yet they talk, and make a whole lot of money from the left. You're talking like twice, 3, 4 times as much as the average YouTuber. And so they make a great deal of money spewing this televangelist-style morality, where it's, oh yeah, the Republicans and Trump are so immoral. They're immoral. Yet they don't walk the walk. Now, if you walk the walk, good for you. At least I respect, even if I disagree with you, at least you walk the walk. But they just talk the talk, they don't walk the walk. But anyway, when de Blasio announced he would be canceling the contract, he directly cited what he called Trump's criminal action and inciting. Okay, de Blasio presided over the worst outcomes. What about his potential criminal, or you're talking about 15,000 lives lost in New York City and throughout New York because of Andrew Cuomo putting infected people into elderly care facilities. What's de Blasio's role in that? Again, what is the wonderful Mayor de Blasio's role in that? Is he culpable? Is he legally responsible? The New York Times is an extension of the Democratic Party. The New York Times is in New York City. And you would think that what happens in New York City, New York State, would be important. The fact that it is the absolute epicenter. Unfortunately, God bless the people of New York and God bless the people of New Jersey. How are they the absolute epicenter when you have the paragons of virtue and the super intelligent intelligentsia and the logical, rational AOC and de Blasio and Schumer and Gillibrand and Cuomo? These people presided over the greatest number of lives lost, and don't bring up population because they have the highest per capita rates, in addition to New Jersey. You have no right, if you're a New York politician, to talk about anything pertaining to a pandemic, lots of things. Tammany Hall, the Southern District of New York, is an extension of the Democratic Party. They're lifelong Democrats. They're going after Trump, and it's purely and completely politically motivated. It has nothing to do with the rule of law. Publications like the New York Times and Washington Post and others cover up the fact, according to the New York Times' own statistics, that New York had the worst outcomes by far in the country and in the world. There was not a city that comes close. Two cities that come. There aren't any cities in the world that come close to New York City and to New York and New Jersey, or states or regions, I should say. They have the worst outcomes, and so much so that even the Democrats in that finely tuned political machine turned on Andrew Cuomo. Then, of course, there's the allegations against him. I mean, you're talking about hypocrites. Trump has nothing on Cuomo and Biden. And if you want to say, oh, well, he was accused by more people, it's like, yeah, well, okay. If you want to talk about credibility, you want to talk about accusations, are you encouraged to accuse a Democrat, or what happens when the allegation against a Democrat is reported by media? It's eviscerated. They never take it seriously. They try to undermine the person. Any allegation against Trump, elevated. So in terms of credibility, which is the absurd notion that Democrats put into the mix, there are issues there. So you can definitely say that de Blasio and Biden and all these people get away with a lot more than Trump ever could have. Okay, and then they say, oh, the hot mic. Biden was literally accused of a woman stated that he literally did what Trump talked about in the hot mic that nobody has ever accused him of doing. But you can't talk about logic. You can't logic or reason. But anyway, here. Mayor de Blasio's actions are purely politically motivated, have no legal merit, and are yet another example of the mayor's efforts to advance his own partisan agenda and interfere with free enterprise, the Trump Organization said in a statement. That's true. They're going after Trump's organization. They don't even have anything on Trump himself. They're going after his CFO. Why? Because Trump gave the CFO money, apparently, for his grandchildren's tuition. This is the pressing national security issues of the Orange Al Capone. Oh my God, he might have paid for Weisselberg's grandchildren's tuition. Wow. Give me your thoughts below. Of course, everything de Blasio and New York politicians do is purely politically motivated. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right